For centuries, Europe did not understand evil as a metaphor or abstract symbol, but as an organized, intelligent force. In the medieval mind, demons were not vague ideas. They were real entities with names, hierarchies, ranks, strategies, and methods. Evil functioned like a system, an infernal bureaucracy operating with precision. To survive, humanity believed it had to understand that system in detail. The medieval world rejected the modern assumption that evil was only psychological. Instead, it operated on a terrifying premise. Evil existed as an external intelligence, coordinated and intentional, actively working to corrupt human souls. To fight it, one had to study it with military accuracy. Names mattered. Structures mattered. Getting it wrong could be fatal. In monasteries after midnight, monks copied forbidden manuscripts by candlelight, transcribing demonological texts that cataloged the powers, appearances, and behaviors of demons. Their hands trembled because they believed knowledge itself could corrupt. Yet they continued because possession was real, spreading like spiritual contagion. Each demon required different prayers, different rituals, different responses. Using the wrong formula could kill the possessed or the exorcist. Medieval demonology was not fringe superstition. It was a structured theological discipline studied by educated monks, inquisitors, and scholars fluent in Greek and Hebrew. Thomas Aquinas himself wrote that knowledge of demons was necessary to resist them, yet warned of a paradox. To fight demons, one must study them. To study them, one must approach them, and that proximity itself created danger. Many crossed a line from resistance into forbidden communion. The theological foundation came from Scripture. The gospel story of Legion established key principles. Demons could be multiple. They granted unnatural strength, induced self-destruction, recognized divine authority, and could transfer between hosts. The Old Testament account of Saul showed demons operated under divine permission, not independently. This suggested demons were instruments within a cosmic order, not chaotic forces. Church fathers like Augustine defined demons as fallen angels who retained intelligence but corrupted it toward destruction. They were not stupid beasts, but ancient minds who understood creation deeply. Augustine argued demons envied humanity because humans could still be redeemed, while fallen angels could not. That envy fueled their hatred. Origen went further, controversially suggesting even demons might one day be restored, an idea condemned but never fully erased from esoteric traditions. Practical experience reinforced theory. Monastic archives recorded exorcisms that went catastrophically wrong. Priests collapsed mid-ritual, died days later, or began displaying possession symptoms themselves. These were not myths but documented warnings. Rituals had to be completed precisely. Spiritual purity was mandatory. Any weakness was exploited. To manage this danger, the church restricted knowledge. Basic prayers were given to village priests. Advanced demonological texts were locked away, accessed only by specialists who had proven decades of spiritual discipline. Yet forbidden knowledge spread anyway. Grimoires were copied in secret, traded hidden, studied obsessively. By the late Middle Ages, demonology rivaled medicine and astronomy in complexity. Demons were described with exhaustive precision. Each had a name, rank, appearance, powers, legions, and specific methods of summoning and resistance. This specificity served a purpose. It made the invisible concrete. You could not fight with demonum, and the Ars Goetia cataloged dozens of demons in systematic hierarchies that mirrored medieval society itself. Hell was not chaos. It was a kingdom. Kings, dukes, princes, presidents, and counts ruled legions like feudal lords. This reflected a core medieval belief. If heaven had order, hell must as well. Inverted, corrupted, but structured. Each demon governed specific domains. Some granted knowledge. Others power, wealth, influence, desire, destruction. The hierarchy suggested intelligence, coordination, and strategic purpose. Evil operated efficiently. Another classification system mapped demons onto the 7 deadly sins. Pride belonged to Lucifer, who tempted through superiority and entitlement. Envy to Leviathan, who twisted comparison into bitterness. Wrath to Satan, who transformed justified anger into violence. Greed to Mammon, who disguised endless accumulation as responsibility. Lust to Asmodeus, who reduced intimacy to consumption. gluttony to Beelzebub, who turned comfort into addiction, sloth to Belphegor, who convinced souls that effort was meaningless. Each temptation felt rational. Each sin masqueraded as virtue. That was the genius of demonic influence. It felt like your own thoughts. Grimoires also detailed summoning rituals with disturbing precision. Preparation involved days or weeks of fasting, celibacy, ritual bathing, confession, and consecration. Protective circles were drawn with sacred names and angelic symbols, forming spiritual fortresses. Triangles were placed outside the circle to bind the demon. Sigils had to be drawn perfectly. A single error could be fatal. Invocations were long, authoritative commands spoken in multiple sacred languages, compelling demons to appear and obey. The danger was immense. If the magician lacked purity or resolve, the entity might appear unbound, attempt deception, terror, or manipulation. The demon could appear as fire, as an angel, or as a loved one, all designed to break the summoner's will. Dismissal was as critical as summoning. The demon had to be formally released and banished. Failure meant lingering influence, obsession, or possession. These warnings existed because people ignored them. Possession, unlike summoning, was involuntary and feared above all. Medieval signs included superhuman strength, impossible contortions, vomiting foreign objects, speaking unknown languages, revealing secret sins and violent aversion to sacred objects. These patterns were refined through centuries of observation. Exorcism became a formalized ritual. The exorcist verified possession, restrained the victim, invoked divine authority, and directly confronted the entity. The process could take weeks or months. Some victims recovered suddenly with no memory. Others died. Some exorcists did not survive. Hell itself was mapped with obsessive detail. Medieval cosmologies described levels, regions, frozen depths, burning chambers, and hierarchical domains governed by demons according to rank. Hell was mathematics, geometry, and inverted order. Maps were drawn, diagrams created. Knowledge was power. These systems shaped everything that followed. Modern occultism still uses medieval hierarchies, sigils, and procedures. The texts are widely available. The rituals persist, and the mindset never truly vanished. The medieval belief was clear: demons cannot force you. They can tempt, manipulate, and deceive, but choice always belongs to the human soul. Evil requires invitation. The final lesson is simple and unsettling. Evil, in the medieval worldview, was not random. It was organized, intelligent, strategic, and patient. And that belief, whether literal or symbolic, continues to shape how humanity understands darkness even now.